Hello, good afternoon. It's Windy News coming to you live from the News Hub here at the University of Education, Winneba. Coming up, President hails contributions of Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II towards national development. Minister-designate for Education Haruna Idrisu reveals approximately 345 million needed for free tertiary admission policy. Penche Boltiad, a suburb of Winneba in Afitu municipality, is engulfed in field. And in business news, 2024 GSMA Mobile Money Regulatory Index ranks Ghana as world best for mobile money regulation. On the foreign front, Mozambique's opposition leader, Venancio Mondlane, prepares to serve in government. We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the bulletin. My name is Nana Ama Inyamike Baini. Now the news in detail. On Sunday, President John Dramani Mahama praised the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II for his contributions to national progress. He thanked the Asantehene for his wise advice and assistance which aided his success during his first tenure as president. President Mahama issued the commendations on Sunday at the Akusidai Festival at the Manshia Palace. President Mahama committed to engage the Asantehene even more, particularly as Ghanaians are suffering the worst crisis in Ghana's history. Now away from that story, Minister-designate for Education Haruna Idrisu estimates that 345 million Ghana cedis will be required to properly execute the government-proposed free tuition policy for first-year tertiary students. During his vetting by the Appointment Committee in Parliament on January 20, 2025, the Tamale South MP stressed the policy's ability to increase access to post-secondary education for a significant number of pupils across the country. He stated that the granted monies will be paid tuition expenses for students attending tertiary institutions, ensuring equitable access to higher education.
On the authority of President Mahama, I'm sure his Minister of Finance, if this House approved, Honorable Atuforson, will present the reset budget of the government. It will include some provision of some 345 million cedis to cater for admission fees for students undertaking courses in the normal subject areas, not professional areas like medicine. And for President Mahama, this is a model to experiment. You will look at it. How do we fare as a country? If it is possible for expansion, then he will expand it. And he's not asked that if you are able, you should not. We know that some students have already paid their admission fees. It will be refunded to them, Honorable Leader.
Away from that story, the Minister-designate for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, has emphasized the critical need for reforms in Ghana's poultry business, describing it as in crisis. During his vetting on Monday, January 20, Eric Opoku stated that tackling the sector's difficulties is critical to guaranteeing food security and driving economic growth. According to him, the poultry business is currently experiencing severe challenges, including a considerable imbalance between demand and supply. In response, he laid out a detailed plan to reinvigorate the industry, which will be a top priority under his administration.
Needs resuscitation. For this reason, to revamp the poultry sector, we have provided for a program in our manifesto called Poultry Farm to the Table Program. Under this program, we want to work with the Poultry Farmers Association, provide them with financial resources to enable them expand their businesses, increase production to close the huge gap between demand and supply. Then another aspect that we have to work on is the poultry feed. We are going to focus, zero in on production of poultry feed to make it more affordable to bring down food prices in Ghana. Mr. Chairman, reading the Ghana Statistical Service report, they indicate that food inflation, which came to 23%, has increased to 27.8% on the back of rising prices of eggs, which clearly means that we have to push a lot of resources into that sector to revamp it.
Head of the Child Marriage Unit at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Hajia Safaya Tamimu, has urged journalists to prioritize reporting on child marriage. She stressed the importance of stepping up efforts to eradicate child marriage as the Sustainable Development Goals deadline of 2030 approaches. Hajia Tamimu made the announcement during a media event in Accra on the Child Marriage Information Portal. Now we're from that story. Let's come Winneba here, where Penche Boatyard, a suburb of Winneba in the Afutu municipality, is engulfed in filth as the area reveals a disturbing sight of trash and filth scattered all over the shore. The pottery smell and unsightly garbage have left beachgoers and nearby residents frustrated and concerned. Despite the presence of cleaners who attempt to keep the area clean, the constant flow of trash has proven to be a troublesome task. Speaking to some residents, it became clearer that the pollution is not just as a result of natural waste, but also of intentional dumping by individuals and households. Many claim that the rubbish flows from gutters and drains from nearby homes, while others admitted to witnessing people secretly disposing of waste at the beach, causing them to fall sick constantly. Residents are now calling on local leaders to implement stricter regulations and penalties for those caught dumping rubbish.
People pour dirty water and rubbish into the gutters, and it flows from their houses to the beachside. The assemblyman mostly orders some guys to clean the gutter, but it's like they have also stopped because residents keep making the place very dirty. Those who even clean the place get insults from residents and beachgoers when they try to stop them from easing or throwing rubbish at the beach. Because the cleaners are not paid recently, they have also stopped. We visit the hospital almost every week because we are choked with filth, and so we call on the assembly members to tighten security at the beach.
That particular story was written by Florence and Sandra here at the newsroom. Now, it has come to just our notice that my colleague Quinsta Ansa is on standby by Zoom to give us details of what is going on at the Student Center, where it has been said that the Directorate of Health Service here at the University of Education, Winneba, is currently organizing a cervical cancer screening. So I go online to speak to Quinsta. Quinsta, if you can hear me, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anna. Can you hear me?
Quinsta, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. So tell me what is going on right at the Student Center.
Okay, so the cervical cancer screening started this morning and then students and workers have come to do their screening so far. And then currently we have 8 people who are done with their screening. And I'd like to talk to Madam Kindness, a public health officer, to tell us how the screening is going so far. Hello, Madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so Madam Kindness, how is the screening going so far?
So far, so good.
Okay.
As you rightly said, we have about 8 people already screened, both students and staff. So, well, it's encouraging, and a lot of people are in the queue to have their turn. So it's encouraging. We are happy.
Okay, so how is the feeling? Like the students coming, are they scared, the staff, or they are okay with how it
Oh, yes. So some of them don't really know what it entails. So when we explain to them, they understand, and it's easy.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc, for talking to us. I think we have other people waiting for you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you too. Okay, Nana, so that was Madam Kindness, a public health officer who is doing the screening here at the student center, and there are other people who are waiting for it to get to their turn as well. So, and then that's all we have now, and that's Constance reporting for Windy News from the student center.
Okay, thank you, Quinsta. So that was my colleague Quinsta on field right at the student center, giving us a full detail of what is going on prior to the cervical cancer screening here at the University of Education, Winneba. Now we'll go for a short commercial break. When we come back, it's business.
Hey there, welcome to Radio Winneba 98.3 FM. Seated right in front of you is Ampon Bismarck, so for short, Ampon B. Here we say we are the ultimate in campus radio. I entreat you all to be listening to Radio Winneba 98.3 FM. And your Radio Winneba, forget about it.
Hello. My name is Amina Abisbanan, a media personality at Radio Winneba 98.3 FM. Kindly follow us on all our social media handles. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us on www.uew.edu.gh. We are the ultimate in campus radio.
Welcome back from that short break. Now let's do some business. The 2024 GSMA Mobile Money Regulatory Index ranks Ghana as the best in the world for mobile money regulations. Ghana achieved 95.06%, up from 92.56% in 2023, when it ranked third globally behind Rwanda and Pakistan. This year, Rwanda ranked second with 95%, while Pakistan ranked with sixth position with 92.81%, after Qatar 94.21%, Malawi 93.88%, and Salvador 93.75%. The report emphasized Ghana's success in financial inclusion, which was fueled by its mobile money interoperability infrastructure. Away from that, still on business, where former Minister of Finance Sektepe has been named as the President's economic advisor. His responsibility will be to advise the President on key economic matters such as fiscal policy, debt management, and economic recovery initiative. His nomination comes as Ghana faces economic challenges such as growing inflation, public debt problems, and currently devaluation. This places him at the forefront of Ghana's effort to overcome economic problems and drive long-term growth. He will work with Finance Minister Designate Dr. Kassel Atto-Forson to implement a variety of economic initiatives under John Mahama's administration. Now, staying on this particular story, we have the acting head of Department of Accounting here at the University of Education, Winneba, Mr. Samuel Gamali Gajo, via Zoom to explain more on this particular story. Good afternoon, Mr. Samuel, if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Good afternoon to you and your cherished listeners as well.
Okay, so thank you for joining us. Prior to the just ended business news, what do you make of Ghana being ranked as the best in the world of mobile money regulations?
I think it's a good news because in this part of the world, the sub-Saharan African region, financial inclusion has been a major problem. And if you look at the population breakup in Ghana, or the population in Ghana, majority of them are in the rural areas. What it means is that they don't have access to banking activities. They don't have access to financial institutions, and they don't have access to financial markets and financial products or assets. So having a majority of people within the country patronizing the mobile money and making sure they are part of it, I think it's a good news. I think Ghana ranking first also comes from the fact that over the years, the developments within the mobile money space has been massive, to the extent that people can even borrow as much as 5,000, 6,000 cedis through the mobile money, which is very good for economic activities. So I think it's a step in the right direction. We deserve it. The only issue is the mobile money fraud that is trying to derail the progress of our mobile money expansion within the scope of the borders of the country. Realize that over the period of 10 years, massive education has gone on throughout the various media, social and print media, and as well as the radio stations, television stations. In fact, the media, you've all done your part in making sure mobile money issues get across the length and breadth of this country. So we have a lot of people who have not been to school, but they can still operate the mobile money. They can still access their account. They can still access loans on it, and that is what has brought us this far. The only issue is that the security minister or cyber security authority should look at the issues revolving around mobile money fraud to prevent people from duping people through that media. And when that is done, I think and I believe that Ghana will continue to be the first in ranking as mobile money in the world.
Okay, thank you for that. But prior to the finance minister, former finance minister, being appointed as president economic advisor, what is your stand when you hear that it has happened like this?
I wasn't surprised at all. I was thinking that he would have been given something on either ambassadorial position, but being in the country, if you look at it, being in opposition for 8 years, he has been vocal on economic issues, and he has profound solutions to how to resolve some of the situations, some of the bad policies being implemented over the past 8 years. And so the president, in his own wisdom, is thinking that having him around to help the young ones manage the economy, or to provide advice for the young ones, I think it's a step in the right direction. So you see, now we have a youth as the face of the finance ministry, and that youth is being advised by his former boss in the name of Setepe. So I think it's a step in the right direction. It is good. It's not a main face, but rather you have somebody who is a young guy who has served under him for I think for 4 years before they went into opposition. So I think it's a good news having an experienced former finance minister to be the advisor to the president on economic issues, just as our immediate past president did. He brought in Mr. Yao Osafo-Maafo to be his advisor on economic issues, and he was also a former minister. Unfortunately, they didn't get somebody who had also served under Mr. Yao Osafo-Maafo as a minister, a deputy, to take over the helms of affairs as the finance minister. But in this case, it's almost the same trend here. The one who is now the finance minister is somebody who has served under the presidential advisor on economic before as the deputy finance minister for 4 years. So I think it's a step in the right direction. The telepathy is there, the understanding is there, and they'll go on. Let's see what they will do for the economy of Ghana.
Okay, thank you, right there. But before I leave you, just recently we hear that the Ghana cedis is really battling with the dollar. Right now we have $1 going out for $16.64 dollars. What do you make? Is there any chance that the Mahama-led administration is going to work hard for us to really fight the dollar?
Yes, if you know, our country is still going through the transition process. Ministers are being named day in, day out. They are going for vetting. So if you realize the Mahama-led administration does not have its foot on the economy as we speak, we are still enjoying from the previous administration's policies and measures that they put in place. That is why the former finance minister went to read out the first quarter budget, which was approved by Parliament, and that is being run. So that should clearly tell you that whatever we are experiencing from now up until the first 3 quarters is just the handiwork or the product of what the previous government left for us. And so we will now start seeing whatever Mr. Mahama, His Excellency Mahama and his people will be doing from the 3rd quarter. That is where you will start seeing it. So yes, it is early days yet. For now, whatever is happening is as a result of the product of the previous administration, up until when His Excellency President Mahama will get his cabinet ministers to start taking cabinet decisions, start implementing them. That's when we can say yes that they are actually coming to help. But for now, it is early day yet to predict whatever they will do. They don't have a strong footing on the economy. They have strong footing on the security aspect of the economy, but they don't have strong footing on the finance aspect of the economy. In fact, they've not even read out any budget. They've not implemented any policy yet. So whatever we are seeing is a product of the previous administration.
Okay, thank you right there for speaking with us at here Windy News. We thank you very much. Well, that was right there, Mr. Gamale Gajo, the acting head of the Department of Accounting here in the University of Education, Winneba. Now, moving on to our next story. Fisher folk in Eyipe, a fishing community in the Fitu municipality, has expressed worry about the rising cost of fuel. The fisher folks lament that the surge in fuel prices is affecting their livelihoods. Expressing their worries in an exclusive interview with Windy News, they lament that the unavailability of premise fuel, which was relatively cheaper, has compelled them to use petrol in their daily fishing activities. They further hinted that the rising costs have made it increasingly difficult to sustain their operations, as profits shrink under the weight of escalating expenses. Some fishermen disclosed that they use the work with gift boats, but due to the increment in fuel prices, they are forced work with one, a thing they claim has affected their finances.
Often more war. I'm a query with you. Until Paton said, Babel said, I'll be Babana, let us in the room. I better get you down there for a fire. Okay, Panamara. On the ground, I want to be first, I wanted to put on you cook my episode. Not to put on your band was to be annual. Until you pay nice about but not so much. Into an waste of us and each other. What's an each other? We are all in there. Sisano, you bia yoki. You bia Kodame. Man, Sisa, the Matano would do as an issue. I family, I have some gummy in war.
Is a Yamano Suranoko, is a Miavent about Motumare. May be in the season, 2 and 6. What my tossament about what's in the season? I don't know what can be Biapada. You're 2 years, Galba 50 season, and a 55 season by what we are to.
Well, that story was also written by Millicent Akins. Now we go for another break. When you come back at Sports with Caesar Abraham.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Windy Sports segment here on Windy News. My name is Caesar Abraham. The 2024 Ghana University Sports Association Games saw its 28th edition competed by 15 public universities across the University of Cape Coast in the Central Region for 16 days. The competition was under the theme Repositioning University Sports for National Development triggers a fierce competition across 12 disciplines. The University of Cape Coast succeeded in the competition with 11 trophies from basketball, both men and women, hockey, women, netball, volleyball, men and women, and tennis men. Besides the second position, the University of Ghana, the Legon side won 5 trophies from the athletics, both men and women, beach volley men, goalball men, and hockey men. Elsewhere, the defending champions, University of Education Winneba, settled for the third spot, winning 7 trophies from beach volley women, goalball men, handball, both men and women, table tennis, and badminton as well. Eventually, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the GUSA 2022 host, finished 4th with 3 trophies at the end of the sports festival. Meanwhile, UAW taking the mantle to host the 29th GUSA Games comes 2026 as Shaibu Tanko, president of Ghana University Sports Association Games, calls for investment in the existing sports facility across the universities and the country as a whole.
Ladies and gentlemen, shall we rise for KNUST anthem? Ladies and gentlemen, shall we rise for the anthem of UG? Ladies and gentlemen, shall we rise for UCC anthem?
A story written by Emines Onyema. The Champions League is back for 2025. PSG, Man City flirting dangerously close to elimination. Manchester City are in danger of Champions League elimination, whilst Liverpool, Arsenal and Aston Villa are flying. Celtic's playoff hopes remains alive. 2 games remain in the Champions League refurbished competition, which saw 36 league phases. The top 8 automatically qualifies to the last 16, crucially skips the 2-legged knockout phase in the runoff. The 2023 winners City are far only heavyweights sitting uncomfortably. These are some of the matches that will be played in the Champions League. Wednesday, AC Milan versus Girona, Arsenal versus Dynamo Zagreb, Feyenoord versus Bayern Munich, PSG versus Man City, Real Madrid versus Salzburg, and Sparta Prague versus Inter Milan. And on Tuesday, that is today, Monaco versus Aston Villa, Atletico Madrid versus Leverkusen, Bayern, Benfica versus FC Barcelona, Bologna versus Dortmund, Club Brugge versus Juventus, Liverpool versus Lille over there. And that's all for sports here on Windy News. My name is Caesar Abraham. Up next is international news.
Now, that was sports from Caesar Abraham. Now let's go to the foreign front. Mozambique's leading opposition leader, Venancio Mondlane, has told the BBC that he is willing to serve in government provided President Daniel Chapo satisfies his request to settle the country's political crisis, which has erupted following disputed elections. Chapo stated that he had formed a team that was considering inviting his competitor to join a new inclusive government. The two men detailed their stance in separate BBC interviews, creating the impression that they were willing to reconcile following the death of over 300 people in post-election rioting. Mondlane denounced his defeat in October election, claiming he was rigged, which Chapo denied. Mozambique's highest court proclaimed Chapo the winner with 65% of the votes against Mondlane 24%. And finally, Pope Francis has declared that Donald Trump's proposals to deport illegal migrants from the United States would be a disgrace if carried out. Speaking to an Italian TV program from his Vecchian home, Francis stated that if the plans were carried out, Trump would make poor wretches who don't have anything to foot the bill. In a statement to Trump issued on Monday, Pope Francis extended him cordial greetings and urged him to lead a society with no room for hatred, discrimination or exclusion, and to promote peace and reconciliation among peoples. Now, before we end the news story, a recap of the stories that made headlines. President hails contributions of Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II towards national development. Minister-designate for Education Haruna Idrisu reveals approximately 345 million Ghana cedi needed for free tertiary admission policy. Penche Boatyard, a suburb of Winneba in Efutu municipality, is engulfed in field. Now in business, 2024 GSMA Mobile Money Regulatory Index ranks Ghana as world best for mobile money regulations. Now on the foreign front, Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane prepares to serve in government. And that will be all for today's Windy News here at the News Hub at the University of Education, Winneba. My name is Nana Ama Nyamike Bani. Thank you for doing the watching and do enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Hey there, welcome to Radio Unibe 98.3 FM. Seated right in front of you is Ampon Bismarck, so for short, Ampon B. Here we say we are the ultimate in campus radio. I entreat you all to be listening to Radio Unibe 98.3 FM. And your Radio Unibe, yeah, forget about it.
Hello. My name is Amina Abisbanan, a media personality at Radio Winneba 98.3 FM. Kindly follow us on all our social media handles. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us on www.uew.edu.gh. We are the ultimate in campus radio.